bother me in any way.
And if I see a police officer, I will engage with them because I know it's the right thing, and I can actually speak to an, I wouldn't say ignorant, but a person who has the lack of understanding. I say, look, they're just doing their job, it's only going to be 5 minutes, just grit and bear it and then we'll get through it.
You have to be very careful that the communities, particularly minority communities, whose assistance in terms of anti-terrorism you most need, you will likely to lose that cooperation, and particularly the cooperation of young people, if they themselves feel they are being targeted in an unjustifiable or a discriminatory manner.
We personally did quite a bit of research, primary research with young people as to, their attitudes towards the stop and search powers, and not one young person said, it should not be used. They all felt the police should use the stop and search powers. However, the problem and the issues that they do have with it is the way it's carried out.
Because you're the same as me, if you never had that badge on the street, it would be different. You know what I'm saying? So when you're approaching an individual, it's like more respect and more, you know what I mean? It don't mean because you're an officer you have to give less respect. It makes no sense. You know what I mean? We're both human beings, it don't make no sense. Obviously, you've got the right to do what you got to do, you know what I mean? But a more respectful way.
I'd like to be treated with respect. I'd like to be treated as I would treat other people. And I would like them to try and communicate with me to the best of their ability. They wouldn't perhaps recognise the cane that I have. They might assume that I was blind, but they would not know that the red bits on my cane tell them that I'm deaf. They wouldn't be able to identify themselves to me. If they put their hand on my shoulder, I wouldn't know who it was, and I would think I was being attacked. In a wheelchair, it's fairly obvious the person has a disability, but there are so many people who've got hidden disabilities. People who shout suddenly, people who wave their arms about because they're deaf and they're speaking British Sign Language. They're not rioters, they're actually people communicating.
If police officers do not understand the community that they're policing, or the community don't understand policing, then you're going to be at loggerheads all the time. You have to bring the police to the community. The police need to feel as though they're part of the community. And the community need to have trust and confidence in the police.
If you know your rights, then you know how the situation is meant to be handled, and you know what's meant to happen, you know what's not meant to happen.
This is fairly typical of how a stop and search encounter may begin, either acting on information received that a lad has been seen with a knife, or it may be something that the officer has seen themselves that's raised their level of suspicion. The officer has reasonable grounds to suspect that the behaviour of the lad...
Lads, can you just stay there for a second?
...suggests he might be the lad with the knife.
Yeah, what's wrong?
Guys, I just need you all to stay where you are. The reason why we've stopped is that as we've driven past, we've seen a shiny silver object in your hand, OK? For that reason, you're all being detained for the purposes of a search. My name's PC Chowdhury. The purpose of the search is to find the silver object, which I believe to be a knife.
In other circumstances, police officers can search for stolen or prohibited articles, such as guns or controlled drugs, or for articles that someone might use to commit criminal damage.
Guys, can you just stay back for me? Just stay back.
He might have reasonable suspicion that the young lad is involved in terrorism, but I think under the circumstances, it's highly unlikely. The police are not allowed to single someone out because of the way they look, or because of their age, sex, gender or ethnicity, or because of the clothing or hairstyle they may have, unless they have reliable information that they match the description of the suspect.
What have you got in this pocket here?
When a search takes place in public, an officer may search your pockets or a bag that you may be carrying. They may also ask you to remove an outer coat, jacket or gloves.
This is what we have seen when we have passed.
Yes, it's only quite very nice.
If an even more thorough search is required, again, this must take place out of public view and only in the presence of an officer of the same sex. People can get upset or offended, but if they are innocent of any wrongdoing and the encounter is managed effectively, there is no reason for emotions to escalate and for that person to be arrested. When he's completed the search, the officer is required to complete a form detailing when, where and why the search was conducted. It may seem like just red tape, and there are suggestions that the form may be shortened or an electronic version may be introduced. The detail provides information on gender, ethnicity and other important information. This is used to monitor stop and search procedures by parliaments, community groups, civil rights groups and the police themselves. You can take a copy of the form then and there, or may apply to have a copy within 12 months. Powers to stop and search must be used fairly, responsibly and with respect. If these fundamental principles are not observed, stop and search may be called into question.
What we have been doing for the past few years is working closely with partners, with the police authority and with local communities to try and improve trust and confidence by changing the way that we use the power, by making the outcomes actually more visible to people so they can see it is really effective part of dealing with crime and criminality. I think the other issue is we've got to involve the community far more in the monitoring of what we're doing, and I know in London the whole development of community monitoring networks, the working with community and the communities coming in to see what we do has really helped the community to see, and individuals to see, that we do use this power to prevent and detect crime, and we do use it in a way which is proper and proportionate.
The police authority is independent of the police. We work closely with them and we are there to monitor and to scrutinise them, and it's really, really essential that people talk about stop and search, and I think it's important that local communities and individuals actually approach their local police or their police authorities to talk about stop and search, about their experience of it, good and bad, because I think that helps getting an understanding whether we're doing things in the right way. It also assists in training purposes, and it's so important not just to identify bad practice but also good practice.
And see the police as a force for change, as a friend, you know, and be a critical friend for them and, you know, speak out.
What we need to be doing is making stop and search as good as it can be, and in order for that to happen we need to make sure we monitor it correctly, we need to make sure it's not unduly disproportionate, and we need to make sure it is intelligence-led and carried out in a sensitive and courteous way. If you have a circumstance where you're stopped and searched and you're not happy with the way that you've been treated, you will actually get a form, and at the back of the form that will detail all of the ways in which you can complain about the treatment that you've had. You can complain to a police officer at any police station. You can also complain to your local police authority, to the Citizens Advice Bureau, or you can complain to the Independent Police Complaints Commission. Stop and search is a useful tactic when used right, when used sensitively, when used with an intelligence-led approach. It ain't perfect.